What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and today I'm going to be bringing you 4 must-know Invoked Revolution combos, so make sure you guys are ready because some of these combos are incredibly nasty. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Combo number 1 is going to show us what we can do with Alistair and Shadow's Light. Now, the Alistair can be swapped out for something like Terraforming or Magical Meltdown, but we're just going to show you guys the most straightforward route, so the only card that really needs to be hard drawn is the Shadow's Light. Let's show you guys what we're going to do. So we're going to start things off by normal summoning our Alistair, which of course is going to allow us to add our copy of Invocation from our deck to our hand. Next, we'll use the Shadow's Light, targeting the Alistair. Now we can summon a light level 4 spellcaster, which happens to be the stats of Guiding Quem. So we're going to go ahead and summon the Guiding Quem from our deck and activate its effect to send specifically the Blazing Cartesia from the deck to the graveyard. What that's going to do is allow us to resummon it anytime a monster leaves the extra deck, which is exactly what's going to happen now, because we're going to go ahead and take the Alistair the Invoker and link that into our copy of Artemis. A monster left the extra deck, which will activate the effect of Guiding Quem. That means we can go ahead and summon back out our Blazing Cartesia. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the Artemis and the Cartesia, and we're going to go ahead and link those off into our copy of Cross Sheep, and now we can go ahead and activate the Invocation. We're going to use the Invocation, banishing specifically the Artemis and the Alistair, and this is what is going to allow us to summon out our copy of Makaba. Now that we summoned the Makaba, this will activate the effect of Cross Sheep, letting us reborn the Cartesia once more, and now we're able to continue playing. We're going to use the Cartesia and the Quem, and we're going to go ahead and fuse those off into our copy of Dusk Dragon, which will activate the Dusk Dragon on summon, which is going to send our copy of Titaniclad from the extra deck to the graveyard. Let's not forget that in the end phase. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the effect of the Invocation in our graveyard. We're going to shuffle it back into our deck to add the banished Alistair back to our hand. And here we can do something really cool. We're going to go ahead and banish the Shadow's Light from our graveyard, and that allows us to get an additional normal summon, which will be used on the Alistair, which happens to not be once per turn. So on the normal summon of Alistair, we're going to go ahead and add our Invocation again, and now we're going to take the Cross Sheep, the Alistair, and the Dusk Dragon, and we're going to go ahead and link these off into a copy of Appaloosa with 3 negates. The final step that we have here is we're going to go ahead and activate the Invocation one more time, using a Fusion monster and an Alistair. This is going to go ahead and summon out our copy of Agoides, giving us another form of interruption, and now we can proceed to end phase, where we are not going to forget the Titaniclad. Because it was sent there, we can go ahead and use it to special summon out our copy of Dogmatica Ecclesia, which will of course activate on summon, adding us our copy of Fleur de Lis. So now off of those 2 cards, we have 3 monster negates, a potential Omni negate depending on what we have in our hand, a pop anytime our opponent special summons, along with a negate from the Fleur de Lis as well. And do not forget that you had 3 other cards that you started with, since this was a 2-card combo. Combo number 2 is going to be very simple but very strong. It is using specifically Alistair and Revolution Synchron, or any way into the Revolution Synchron, so something like tuning or whatever. You guys pretty much get the gist. We're going to show you guys what it does. So we're going to start off here by normal summoning out our Alistair, which is going to activate its effect, allowing us to add our copy of Invocation from our deck to our hand. Now, because we have the Revolution, we can actually Synchro summon using it and the Alistair, even though it is in our hand, and that is going to summon our copy of Ancient Fairy Dragon. Now, this is not really utilizing Ancient Fairy Dragon to its full potential because it does have a lot of insane effects, but we're just showing you guys the bare minimum here of what this can do. Now that we have a Dragon Synchro and the Revolution Synchron in our graveyard, we can use the Revolution effect to summon itself out and send the top card of our deck to the grave. Doesn't matter what you send, so we're just going to show a useless card here, and now this is treated as a level 1. So with our level 1 tuner and our level 7 a Synchro monster, we are able to go ahead and summon out our copy of Crystal Wing, meaning that we have a monster negate, and we are also immune to Nibiru because this was before 5 summons. The final step for this combo is going to be activating Invocation, which of course is going to banish our light monster, which is Ancient Fairy, and the Alistair. So we're going to go ahead and banish those out. This is going to grab our copy of Makaba, and finishing off the turn, we're going to use the effect of the Invocation, shuffling it back into the deck to add the Alistair back to our hand, meaning that at the bare minimum we will have a monster negate off the Makaba and a monster negate off the Crystal Wing. The Makaba can potentially be a spell or trap negate as well, depending on what you opened, but that is just a very simple but very strong 2-card combo. And before we go any further, I want to remind you guys to pick up the Fusion Summer Fun double-sided metal field center. This thing looks and feels incredible. The art on it is insane. The feel, the weight, it's so premium, and I definitely definitely think that you guys would enjoy it. Obviously, we are showcasing a deck that utilizes both the Cartesia and the Quem as well, so what better way to plug it than to show you guys right now. It is a limited run of just 100, so make sure you guys pick yours up, link in the description down below. Now for combo number 3, we are going to show you how you can add an additional Omni Negate onto the end board by simply swapping out the Alistair for specifically Magical Meltdown or the Terraforming, because that just gets you into Magical Meltdown. And again, the Revolution Synchron can be anything. It can go into the Revolution or the Tuning, so you have 6 ways to get into that as well. Let's show you guys what we're going to do. We're going to start things off by activating out our Magical Meltdown, which of course is going to add us our copy of Alistair the Invoker. We will normal the Alistair the Invoker, which is going to allow us to add our copy of Invocation, and then we can take the Revolution and the Alistair and Synchro summon with them into our copy of Ancient Fairy Dragon, which now that we have the Magical Meltdown, we can utilize a lot more than the last combo. We're going to use the effect of the Ancient Fairy Dragon to blow up our Magical Meltdown, which will gain us 1,000 life points and search a field spell of a different name. In this case, it is going to be the Therion Disc Coliseum. Now we're going to go ahead and use the effect of the Revolution, sending a random card from the top of our deck to the graveyard, and summon itself back out as a level 1. With a level 1 and a level 7 Synchro, we can go ahead and Synchro summon into our copy of Crystal Wing, meaning that we now have an early Monster Negate as well. Next, we're going to go ahead and activate out our Therion Disc Coliseum. This is going to allow us to add our copy of King Regulus, and if you didn't notice, Revolution Synchron is a machine. So we're going to go ahead and summon out the King Regulus by equipping the Revolution Synchron from the graveyard, and now we can use our Invocation, which is of course going to banish our Light Ancient Fairy Dragon and our Alistair the Invoker and go into our copy of Makaba. To finish off the turn, we're going to take the Invocation in our graveyard, shuffle it back into our deck, adding us our copy of Alistair the Invoker, meaning that we definitely have a Monster Negate at the bare minimum, but depending on the other 3 cards in hand, the Makaba could potentially be an Omni Negate. So just by swapping out the Alistair for the Meltdown, we were able to go and add an additional Omni Negate onto that end. For the 4th and final combo of today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys an absolutely crazy 3-card combo, and again, it is a little bit varied because you can have the Terraforming or the Meltdown giving us 4 copies, the Revolution or the Tuning giving us 6 copies, and of course the only card that has to be hard drawn is the Shadow's Light, but it is an insane combo, so let's just go ahead and show you guys how it works. We're going to go ahead and start things off by activating our Magical Meltdown, which is of course going to add us our copy of Alistair, which we will then normal summon out, and using its effect, we can add our copy of Invocation from our deck to our hand. The next step is going to be activating the Shadow's Light, targeting the Alistair, and just like in the earlier combos, this is going to summon out our Guiding Quem, and on summon, the Guiding Quem is going to use its effect, sending our copy of Blazing Cartesia. Now we are going to take the Revolution Synchron in our hand and Synchro summon with the Alistair on field, and this is going to go into our Ancient Fairy Dragon. Now we're actually not going to activate the Quem here just yet because we are trying to play around Nibiru, so we don't want to put ourselves on more summons than we have to. We're going to go ahead and use the effect of the Ancient Fairy Dragon, popping the Magical Meltdown, gaining 1,000 life points, and adding us our copy of Therion Disc Coliseum. Now we have summoned 3 times. Our 4th summon is going to be the Revolution Synchron Engrave, milling just a random card off the top of our deck and summoning it back out as a level 1. Now for the 5th summon, we can take the Ancient Fairy Dragon and the Revolution, and this is going to go into our copy of Crystal Wing, which is going to make us Nibiru proof as this is the 5th summon. Now that the Crystal Wing has left the extra deck, we are going to use the effect of the Quem to summon back out our copy of Blazing Cartesia. Here what we are going to do now is activate our Therion Disc Coliseum. This is going to allow us to search out our copy of King Regulus, which we can then use to summon itself by equipping the Revolution Synchron. Now we are going to activate our Invocation. This is going to fuse using the Ancient Fairy Dragon as our light and the Alistair in the graveyard, and of course this is what's going to make our copy of Makaba. Here what we are going to do is use the effect of the Cartesia fusing herself and Quem. This is going to go into our copy of Dusk Dragon, and now the Dusk Dragon on summon is going to allow us to send our copy of Titaniclad. The next step is using the invocation to shuffle itself back into the deck, which will add our copy of Alistair back to our hand, and then we can banish the Shadow's Light in our graveyard, which will give us an additional normal summon, of course normal summoning back out the Alistair. Alistair not being once per turn, we will use its effect to add our copy of Invocation again, and then we'll take the Alistair and the Dusk Dragon, and this is going to link off into our copy of Cross Sheep, and the positioning here is crucial. We want the Cross Sheep pointing to our Crystal Wing, because now we're going to be able to make everything we have gain a permanent 700 attack. The way we're going to do that is we're going to activate the Invocation, which is going to use the Dusk Dragon and the Alistair, and this is going to summon out our copy of, I didn't stack that properly, the Agoides. Now, because we summoned a fusion to the Cross Sheep zone, it's going to activate both the Synchro and the fusion effects, everything permanently gaining 700 attack, and we will be able to summon back out one of our level 4s. Doesn't matter if it's the Cartesia or the Quem, because we're just going to immediately link it off. We're going to take the Agoides, the Cartesia, and the Cross Sheep, and we are going to link these into a 3-material Appaloosa, giving us 3 monster negates on top of everything we already have. Now we can proceed to end phase, and if you guys forgot, we did send the Titaniclad, meaning that we are going to be able to activate its effect, summoning out our copy of Ecclesia, which is then going to activate its effect to add us our copy of Fleur de Lis. So we have the 2 additional cards that we started with, meaning that the Macabre could potentially be an Omni Negate. We have an Omni Negate in Regulus, we have a Monster Negate in the Crystal Wing, we have 3 additional Monster Negates in the Appaloosa, an additional Monster Negate by summoning the Fleur de Lis, and yeah, that is just crazy. And there you guys have it. That is going to be 4 must-know Invoked Revolution combos for the upcoming format. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with your friends, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. As always, don't forget to check out the channel sponsor Dueling Guard. Using my code INSANE18, you will get 5% off your entire order. And again, the Fusion Summer Fun double-sided metal field center limited run of just 100 is available now on my website. Link in the description down below. Pick yours up before they're out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.